INA is a vertically integrated Croatian petroleum company headquartered in Zagreb, Croatia. Its upstream operations are mainly located in Egypt and Syria, whilst the downstream activities are carried out in Croatia. During this short video, we will outline the main initiatives proposed to make INA a more sustainable company. Corporate sustainability as part of a company's social responsibility is a term defined as being the management of the risks and adding value in three main areas: the economic, environmental, and social. With respect to CSR and sustainability, oil and gas companies seem to be committing huge efforts in order the economic, environmental, and social. These efforts are not mere altruistic acts. They have the purpose of protecting these companies from public contamination, especially after disasters such as the 2009 oil spill off the coast of Australia. This is because when things go wrong in the oil industry, they go seriously wrong. These companies try to catch the media's eye during good times by publishing sustainability reports and performing publicly acclaimed good deeds for the general society. The leaders in good sustainability practices in the oil industry are presently BP and Royal Dutch Shell. On the other hand, companies like PetroChina in Sudan do not particularly engage in sustainability practices, attracting a lot of negative criticism. INA is situated in the middle of the spectrum between companies like PetroChina and companies like BP and Shell, being involved in some sustainability practices but not really being one of the forerunners in the field. The company's key resource inputs are capital, labor, society, minerals, suppliers, and the environment in which it operates. The capital is important because it drives all of INA's operations. The employees and the knowledge they carry with them are also an essential input to INA, as it is only with their expertise and experience that INA is able to carry out its operations. The society is also greatly affected by INA's operations, and thus its acceptance of INA is a key resource input. Additionally, the company would not be able to function without access to minerals, which form the raw materials for the products INA sells on the market. Furthermore, the suppliers such as Gazprom, which supply additional materials to INA, are also essential inputs. Finally, the environment in which the company operates and the damage it withstands also forms a fundamental input to INA's processes. Finally, the environment influenced by their mission, vision, and core value statement. INA's mission is to create higher value for its shareholders, its vision to have the best reputation possible, and its core value, shareholder satisfaction, together with respect to the environment. INA shareholders are the Croatian government with 45%, MOL, a Hungarian oil company, with 47%, and employees with 8%. The company's present organizational structure is shown here. The main highlights from INA's present value chain are as follows. The company is vertically integrated, and the CEO technically has to answer to the state as it is a major shareholder. With respect to human resources, it employs young individuals at no pay, and there was a lethal work-related accident in 2008. INA has developed sulfur dioxide capture, and it is modernizing its plants to EU standards. As it was mentioned before, INA depends on other companies to supply a part of its raw materials. The company currently has no natural gas storage, but is in the process to build two. And finally, INA operates a call center where customers can file complaints about the company's services and products. In redesigning INA to make it more sustainable, we propose changes to be made in its key resource inputs, its value proposition, its governance mechanisms, and its value chain. INA's key resource inputs cannot be radically changed, especially over the time frame considered in this report, which is the next 30 years. The main suggestions here are a more considerate use of the environment, greater attention to society, and less dependence on unstable suppliers. This will be discussed shortly. With respect to the new value proposition and governance mechanisms, the company will be more focused on the environment and society while maintaining healthy returns for its shareholders, while the proposed new organizational structure for the company is shown. The main change here is the creation of two new posts on the management board, one for the health and safety manager and one for the environmental protection manager. These are suggested in order to new posts on the management board, by focusing more on employee safety in every segment of the company and to underline the importance the company ascribes to the protection of the environment, respectively. The process initiatives proposed are methane and carbon capture, the use of renewables in certain situations, reforms in INA's education offerings, and car recycling. Croatia is required as an Annex 1 country to submit an official report outlining the measures which have been implemented, as well as an emissions inventory to the UNFCCC Secretariat. The country is also currently a candidate for the EU aiming to become a member by 2012, and consequently aspires to join the European Union Emission Trading Scheme. In light of this information, and since INA is the largest Croatian national company, it has to invest in clean development mechanism schemes in order to prepare for EU entry and membership to the EU ETS. Agriculture is the second highest greenhouse gas emitting industry in Croatia, with the primary gas emitted being methane, which has a multiplier effect of 25 compared to carbon dioxide. Consequently, INA investing in the capture and storage of methane will reduce Croatia's greenhouse gas footprint and enable the company to sell the accredited certified emission reduction units on the carbon market, at the same time benefiting the farmers who will get rid of their waste by selling it to INA and earning an extra income. The benefit of carbon capture will be carbon dioxide removal from the atmosphere, helping the environment, while simultaneously creating CERs or emission reduction units for the company to sell onto the market. With respect to renewable sources of energy, INA can use solar power to supply its employees' accommodation facilities with electricity and also recycle water for the water needs of these facilities. These measures will reduce the respective countries' carbon footprint, and INA will have to pay less on electricity and water bills. As far as the education opportunities INA offers, some serious changes need to take place. For instance, the young individuals it recruits over the summer are only cleaning windshields in petrol stations and are not getting paid. INA needs to start giving more opportunities with respect to posts offered to these individuals and also needs to start paying them. These changes will allow INA to earn a more positive attitude from the societies it operates in, and will also allow the company to recruit more capable individuals that it can test during these internships. Finally, the car scrappage scheme, which is proposed, will benefit the company economically by decreasing INA's metal purchasing needs while significantly contributing to the environment and the society. INA's proposed new value chain is shown here. The proposed initiatives are intended to transform INA into a sustainable company. However, there are twofold drawbacks in this case: the proposed changes and the untouched negative points, which we'll assess now. Firstly, the time frame being considered is the next 30 years, and that might arguably be too short, as some scientists claim that oil will run out after that. However, as this graph shows, conventional oil reserves will not run out before 2050. The importance oil will continue to have in the next years was also supported by BP's Mr. Yain Kohn at a talk at Imperial College. One further problem is that the government influences on INA were not addressed. This, however, is a grave issue and outside the scope of this work. Additionally, the problem of unstable suppliers was not discussed. The reasoning for this is that INA is already building two of the largest natural gas storage bunkers in Central Europe in order to solve just that problem. The risk of the proposed CDM projects not being approved is another risk, which has however been limited by selecting the same methodology and principles as an already UNFCCC approved project. As far as the use of renewable sources of energy is concerned, governments in the countries in which these will be implemented might disapprove of INA's self-dependence for energy and lack of local utilities company support. Nonetheless, the recycling of water and use of solar energy will undoubtedly reduce the respective countries' carbon emissions and bring positive reputation for INA. Lastly, the risks for introducing a car scrappage scheme are quite big, as the novelty factor as well as the capital investment needed are quite big. These risks will however be minimized through the involvement of the Croatian government. Through the implementation of all the above changes, we aspire to set INA as a role model of oil companies with respect to sustainability and create a new path for others to follow.